Good morning, gang. Happy Wednesday morning. Okay, must-see TV, right? Today is the second day of the congressional hearings for Trump's cabinet. You know, we all think Independence Day is in July. I think Independence Day is coming in January this year, Independence Week maybe. Because as we start to see the removal and replacement of some of the most incompetent cabinet members in history with some that are highly qualified, it's really interesting to see how idiotic the elected officials on the left are. I mean, morons should be offended when Congress is called moronic, okay? Today we get to see Marco Rubio go through his hearings on Secretary of State, Pam Bondi for Attorney General, Kristi Noem for Department of Homeland Security. These are some important ones to foreign policy and crime. You know, the southern border come into play with these. But the one yesterday was the most despicable showing by congressional Democrats that I can ever remember in history. It was just insulting. It was spreading lies. I mean, the party that's so worried about misinformation and disinformation keeps lying. Okay. This is the thing. If you watched anything on Pete Hegseth yesterday, I mean, some of the stuff was ridiculous. Some of it was outright funny. And some of it was so insulting, it was unbelievable. You could pick on Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, for getting schooled when she asked the question about why are you so opposed to generals going to work in the military defense complex industry after they retire? Would you commit to doing something like that yourself? And Hegseth responded, I'm not a general. Yeah, there you go, Lizzie. Learn some basics, okay? Military rank structure, especially if you're going to sit on the Armed Service Committee, might be important. Pete was a major, okay? There's quite a bit, lieutenant colonel, colonel, to get through before you even got a first star, all right? Yeah, he would have needed 3 more promotions to get there, Lizzie. Okay. Tim Kaine was despicable. Tim Kaine tried to bring up Hegseth's past as being married 3 times, accusing him of infidelity and saying he's not qualified to be in any sort of leadership position because of the fact that he's been divorced and supposedly cheated on his wife. Okay. Yet this is the same guy who ran on a ticket with Hillary Clinton, whose husband notoriously was a philanderer. I mean, shall we review the cigar and the blue dress again there, Tim? But you thought Hillary Clinton was worthy of being president. Tim Kaine, aren't you the same guy who campaigned here in the last 6 months with Doug Emhoff, the guy who knocked up the nanny and also happens to be married with Kamala Harris? Seems like you have a tendency to support infidelity. Shall we look into your background a bit, Tim? Well, I guess maybe not. If you've looked in a mirror lately, I don't think there's any women in the world that desperate. We could go into Mazie Hirono. I mean, Mazie Hirono is the equivalent of AOC in the Senate. the dumbest box of rocks that has ever walked the halls of Congress. She'd answer a question, wouldn't let Hegseth answer, and then just keep going back and forth with lies and lies and lies. They could talk all they want yesterday about women in the military, okay? And how this is the Democrats claiming. The standards are the same. Women should be allowed to serve on the front lines. Everything. The standards are exactly the same. No, they aren't. They never have been. I can go back to the early 1980s when I was in the Army, and the PT tests, physical training, okay, for the women were different than the men. The women didn't have to do as many push-ups. The women didn't have to do as many sit-ups. The women didn't have to run a 2-mile run at the same speed, okay, at the same time. No, the standards have always been different. Why? Oh, I don't know. There's this little thing called biology. Women are built differently than men. Women aren't built for strength like men are. I'm not saying that there aren't strong women. Don't put words in my mouth, okay? But a woman's body is not built the same way a man's is. The standards have never been the same. When people started bitching about it yesterday, I just sat here and I was like, are you idiotic? Hegseth is not calling for women not to be in the military, which some people were trying to portray him as saying. He was saying that women should not be in frontline combat roles, which I absolutely agree with. It's this exact same reason why we shouldn't have these DEI policies in the LA Fire Department, because people aren't qualified to do the job. Mind you this, if you're in a foxhole somewhere, there's 2 of you, okay, and your buddy gets shot, it's your responsibility to pull him out of the foxhole and get him to safety. No offense, Mrs. P ain't carrying me out of a foxhole. Could my buddy Brett? Yeah, okay, there's the difference. Nobody ever said, as I made a comment yesterday, that women shouldn't serve in the military. There's plenty of positions that women can serve in. I'll ask this question. How many push-ups can your doctor do? Do you know? How many push-ups does the payroll clerk at your company do? 94.6% of payroll clerks in the United States are female. Do you know? Do you care? No. Doc, do you know anything about medicine? Good. Fix me. Mary Jane, do you know anything about payroll? Yeah. Pay me. There's plenty of positions in the military that women can do. Probably 95, 97% of them they could do. There's a few they're not, okay? But I'll say this too. Of the guys that are in the military, I'd say 95 to 97% of them aren't qualified to do some of the jobs in the military too. Me? I was never going to be special forces, or hell, I couldn't have been a tanker. I was too tall, okay? Everybody has limitations, physically, mentally, whatever. Just like in real life. You do what you do best. You don't do what you want because of your gender, of your sexual preference, whatever. Nowhere did Hegseth ever say anything about no women in the military. He said not on frontline troops, okay, which is true. I will absolutely agree with him on that one. Yesterday was just an exercise in stupidity. How in the world, why in the world we have senators who sit on the Armed Services Committee who've never served makes no sense to me. I mean, when Lizzie Warren doesn't know rank structure, when nobody knows what the physical fitness test standards are in any branch of the military. I mean, these are basic things. I mean, so basic, guys. These are things you start learning about in the first week of basic training. But we have senators sitting on one of the most powerful committees in Congress who don't understand them. It pisses me off beyond belief to see that we have non-veterans making decisions for active duty troops, reservists, guardsmen, vets, whatever, because they don't understand. They don't know. And so today, we're going to move on, and we're going to have, as I said before, Marco Rubio's, Pam Bondi's, Kristi Noem's confirmation hearing. Okay? And then Pam Bondi's is going to be fun to watch, because in this one, you have some highly respected congressmen on the Republican side going to grill her for all intents and purposes. Ted Cruz, constitutional attorney, he's argued in front of the Supreme Court numerous times. Mike Lee, who's been talked about numerous times, not only to be AG, but also to be potentially a Supreme Court justice. Okay. Marsha Blackburn. Yeah, I'd say we're talking about some highly competent people. And then we look at the other side. And the Democrats, who are they going to run? Adam Schiff is on the Judicial Committee. Yeah, this is a guy who perjured himself in Congress with the whole Russia crap and hasn't told the truth since, the wheel was invented. Sheldon Whitehouse, he's going to be there. Dick Blumenthal, there's somebody that I want to be questioning the Attorney General. This is a guy who lied about being in the Vietnam War. Mazie Hirono gets to make another appearance, because if she didn't prove she was too stupid to serve on the Armed Services Committee, let's put her on the Judiciary Committee too. I mean, come on. When we get to Mazie Hirono, she is the epitome in the Senate of better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Okay. As I said at the beginning, this is Independence Week. This is the time where we give the Democrat Party the big one-finger salute and say, we're done with the Sam Brittons, the Rachel Levines, all the morons that you guys hired. We're going to put competent people in there. Qualified veterans, qualified attorneys, qualified diplomats. And we're going to make America great again, starting in 5 days. Pinball out.